Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the 146th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, the only member of the Retrotopia team with powers comparable to Wonder Boy. And today, as you've probably no doubt guessed, we are talking a little bit of Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap, for the Sega Master System, the beloved console from all the way back in my very early childhood, the very first console I ever owned. And this one, we're going back to 1989. And that's disgusting. I was 4 years old. It's so long ago. So long, in fact, that I think the name Wonder Boy, beyond a certain song of the same name, had become all but forgotten in this day and age. And that is an injustice that I will not allow to stand, because I love this series. And I'm going to tell you why, and we're going to find out what the other guys think of it as well. But before we get to talking about Wonder Boy, we've just got to get our plugs out of the way first. And our intro, which is a lot of fun, we suggest you stick around for. But if you are just interested in the Wonder Boy chat, then you can probably take the form of an eagle and fly your way about 30 minutes down the road, and you should be into our game chat proper. But again, I suggest sticking around because we like to have a lot of fun in these intros, talk to some Patreons, play some games, and it's a good time. Now, let's get some shameless pluggery out the way. So, you can find all things Retrotopia at linktree/Retrotopia. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. You can find all of our social medias. You can find our Dashery/TeePublic page for all of our stylish Retrotopia swag. You can find our Discord, which we always encourage you to join. It's a wonderful little non-toxic area of the internet where we just get together and talk about games, movies, music, the ever ongoing butter debate of 2026, which just doesn't seem to want to die. You can also find our YouTube channel. You can find our Patreon. That's the one. We have a Patreon, and we encourage you to join it because at the base level, it is free to join, and it'll allow you to comment on all of the games of the week. It'll allow you to comment in the 9-bit banter box. It'll allow you to vote in polls, and we've just had one go live just this very day I'm recording this. So our latest poll is sequels to games that we have played before. I should have the entire list with me. And I'm going to be very, very professional right now and look on my phone because this deserves shouting out. We've got a great list of games going on at the moment. So we're looking at Donkey Kong Country 2, we've got Half-Life 2, South Park, The Fractured But Whole, Dragon Ball Z, Budokai 2, Double Dragon 2, Phantasy Star 2, Resident Evil 2, and Portal 2. So it's all sequels, and you can vote in that poll by joining our Patreon. You also get Brian and Joe's Retro Bites series 15 days early with an extra topic tacked on there for your listening pleasure. You get to play Choose One, Lose One, and all sorts of other good stuff. Listen to our Quick Play. God, there's so... See, we offer so much, I can't remember it all. We have our Quick Play mini review series as well, where we just spend 20 minutes or half an hour or so just talking about a short game or a niche title or a game that's, inaccessible to most of the other hosts that we just feel like talking about. Or a game that has been chosen for us by one of our hero tier Patreons, because we do have another tier at Patreon. For $2 a month, you get access to all of the above. You get to pick games for our Quick Play mini review series and throw them at a host of your choice and get a shout out on the episode and all of that good stuff. You get to listen to our New Game Plus series, which is kind of a modern game review podcast there where we talk about games that don't really fit the mold of a retro gaming podcast, and that's a good time as well. And there's probably other stuff, but I can't remember all of it, as I've said, so go and have a look for yourselves and see what pickings are there on offer. That being said, though, something that is available to members of any tier of our Patreon is the ability to comment to the host of the week in a little section we like to call the 9-bit banter box, because it is, of course, culturally elegant. First up on the 9-Bit Banter Box this week, we have Randy Berridge, who's stopped by to say, "Hey Alan, hope you're doing well. No questions, just wanted to say keep up the great work, buddy." And thank you, Randy. That is very, very kind of you. And I read that one out first because that's just set us on a nice positive note for the rest of the episode there. I am doing well. I am doing very well. I mean, still, in the middle of our 15th fucking heat wave over here in the UK. So at this point, I'm more than willing to just 1v1 the sun. And I would kill for a little bit of rain right now. But, keeping busy and just generally, rolling along as you do. I hope you're doing well as well. Let's have a look. Retro Salvage Games says, "Mr. Gentleman, if time allowed and you were able to be the host of a brand new podcast, what would it be about? What does Alan's spin-off show look like?" It's a very good question. Obviously my main passion in life is video games, so I'm kind of exactly where I need to be right now. But I think to podcast about anything, you need to be very, very passionate about the subject that you're talking about, of course. So what else am I passionate about? I mean, I could see myself, maybe doing a podcast about Doctor Who. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and Lord knows there's enough subject matter there to talk about. I mean, north of 800 episodes, you've got a podcast right there. What else? Star Wars. I could hear myself doing Star Wars as well. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. No, I mean, if not video games, it would have to be something like Dragon Ball Z. It could be Dragon Ball Z as well. Or Dragon Ball in general. Something like that. And I don't know exactly what it would sound like because I never plan for these things. I'm always flying by the seat of my pants. And it seems to work out okay, at least so far. But good question. Thank you very much, Retro Salvage Games. The Almighty Dog says, "Meowdy. When you think about originals versus remakes, which do you gravitate toward, and what's the one thing the original does that you never want to see lost?" Oh, that's a head scratcher. I mean, admittedly, it depends. It really depends on what kind of remake we're looking at. If it's sort of more or less just a facelift, with updated graphics and just a few of the little quirks of the gameplay just ironed out, I tend to go for the original because I like to see where games came from a sort of purely historical point of view. It's like this very episode. So, I played the original Wonder Boy 3 on my Sega Master System, whereas Sam, he played the remake. And, we get into a little bit about what the differences are between the two. But I always want to just see what the game was like when it came out originally. Now, that being said, if a remake is just very, very different from the source material, then I'm much more interested in playing it. Like, for example, your Final Fantasy VII remakes and stuff like that, or the Resident Evil 2 and 3 and well, not so much 4, because 4 was kind of pretty fucking crisp to begin with. It didn't need a remake, but I'm kind of glad they did it because I really enjoyed that. As for what's the one thing the original does that you never want to see lost? That's a tricky one because I think it comes down to if you've got a big story game, then you kind of want the characters to be true to what they are. Now, you can change things about the characters, you can change things about the story, but I think what you really want to preserve is the spirit of what they're trying to tell, the story that they're trying to tell, if that makes sense. Again, like the and I won't go into spoilers for Final Fantasy Remake, but there is a lot that is different, but I think the broad strokes, the themes behind the game are very much intact. Just sometimes if you look at them from a slightly different angle, you can get a slightly different appreciation of that theme. So, I don't know, maybe a bit of a pokey or pretentious answer, but if you're remaking a game, I kind of want you to change a lot about it. So yeah, I mean, it's fair game, have a go, and if I think it sucks, I just won't play it. The Big Deal says, take an existing IP that you enjoy and put them in a side-scrolling beat-em-up. It doesn't matter if you choose a media that doesn't have a history of video game adaptations or not, but let's hear your game pitch. All right, Big Deal. You know what? This didn't even take very long for me to think of this one because a side-scrolling beat-em-up is something that's got to look interesting. It's got to be unique to stand out from the crowd, and it's got to have a roster of characters that are fun to play as. And you know what I thought? And maybe everyone doesn't know this, but What We Do in the Shadows. And I know there's a few of you here that probably know what I'm talking about. But I think a game where you take all of the main characters from What We Do in the Shadows and put them in a side-scrolling beat-em-up, the possibilities are endless. They've all got fantastic different powers. You could make it hilariously funny. You could have a lot of different enemies, the Baron, you could have werewolves and stuff like that. I think that would make for a hell of a good beat-em-up, and I would play the fuck out of that game. And then I went a step further and thought, you know what? You've got to have DLC, right? So why not have DLC packs that involve other British avant-garde comedies? So you could have a Mighty Boosh pack, you could have a Garth Marenghi's Dark Place pack with all of these other characters, like a multiverse of, well, let's be honest, a multiverse of Matt Berry, when I think about it, because, yeah, I think just about anything Matt Berry's been in is fair game for all of those characters crossing over. So, yeah, let me know what you think, if you would play my beat-em-up. Munchie says, hey Alan, you fine British gent. If you could bring back any dead gaming franchise, what would it be? Personally, I would love to see a return of some of the older LucasArts point-and-click games. They were a lot of fun. Or maybe something like Silicon Valley that was super underrated. I think I've heard of that Silicon Valley. Was that an N64 game? I'm sure I've seen that crop up on a few lists here and there. Is that something I need to have a crack at? You say it's super underrated. That's got my attention. And yeah, I am obsessed with point-and-click games. Excuse me. I love a good Broken Sword are some of my favourite point-and-click games. And do you know what? It's probably been a while since the last Broken Sword, so there we go. There's one right off the hop. But there are so many, and the problem is, it's kind of a be careful what you wish for thing, because I just got a I would have said Legacy of Kain, but we just got a new Legacy of Kain game recently, and anyway, there'll be a new game plus on that, so you can hear my thoughts if you're interested. But I think I've probably just spoiled a few of them there. I don't know. I mean, I saw, funnily enough, something cropped up earlier on. Infamous was a series that I really enjoyed, so that could probably do with coming back. Dead Space, I've been half obsessed with the idea of a new Dead Space game, but then given how the series ended, I'm not entirely sure how that's possible, but I would play another Dead Space. Although that being said, it did just get a remake not too long. I don't know. It seems like everything's coming back in one form or another, and, I mean, happily so, but I think that pool of dead franchises where people can't think of any new franchises, that pool is going to get smaller and smaller as it gets plundered. But give them all to indie studios and see what they can do. I mean, maybe not Legacy of Kain, but anyway. Philip, my mouth with farts, says, hey Alan, I was just wondering what your thoughts were on the Sony going full digital past early 2028. Did they jump the gun and shoot themselves in the foot, and it's only a matter of time until Microsoft and Nintendo make the same announcement? Did we as gamers bring this on as supposedly majority of game sales are in digital purchases, and they are just responding to our habits? Good God, Philip, this could be a podcast all by itself. And I think it will be. I'm sure Brian and Joe are going to be looking into this on a Retro Bites right away. But just to put my 2 cents in, it does break my heart, this whole shift to full digital, but it is inevitable. As much as I may piss and moan and kick and scream about it, I don't like it at all. I will always be a physical first gamer. I'm a collector. It's what I do. And having a game on a console versus having a game on the shelf, there's no comparison. It does not feel like I own the games that are on the console. I think Sony are the only studio or the only games company that could have pulled the trigger this early because they are the undisputed kings of gaming right now, so they've got the least amount to lose, I think. It is going to open the floodgates for Microsoft and Nintendo, who I'm sure were just... It was basically a game of chicken, wasn't it? It's just like trying to see who would blink first. And now that somebody... And it looks like Sony aren't walking this back, so I hate it. I genuinely hate it, but... You know, I think the digital over physical gaming market has been grossly overblown, but I do genuinely think it is more than digital is more than physical. Probably not by as much as they say, but you know, it's just the way of things, isn't it? But on the plus side, you know, this could open the door up for lots of the indie developers and like game studios to release things physically. You know, I'm a big fan of my Evercade, and that still has cartridges and whatnot, so maybe we see more of those kind of retro consoles with compilations and what have you crop up with physical cartridges. So could be gap in the market maybe. And finally, as we go past the 16-minute mark here, Mercury869 is asking the big questions. Hey Alan, after last week's chip civil war, have you given any thought on where concessions could be made? So if you've not been following on with Retrotopia lore, there was the Discord is burning down based on not just crisps or chips, as you will, inside sandwiches, but also the inclusion of butter in sandwiches. Now, I was not aware that this was not a thing, or that this was a thing that Americans didn't do, is put butter in sandwiches. And it seems to have created literally a civil war, as you say. I am always and forever team butter in sandwiches. It just adds a nice salty creaminess to your sandwich that just elevates it to the next level. And you know, this is not to the exclusion of mayonnaise, mustard, anything else you might like, but butter is a solid base for anything else you want to put on there. Now, I will concede there are places where butter is not suitable in a sandwich, but there are some caveats there. Now, somebody, maybe yourself, Mercury, I'm not sure, brought up like Italian meats and cheeses and things like that. That depends on the bread. Now, if it's a nice ciabatta, you're not going to butter a ciabatta and have your Italian meats and what have you. But then I would consider that a panini rather than a sandwich or a panino, which I know is just a sandwich by any other name, but I don't think that counts. And I will also concede that the idea of butter in a peanut butter and jam sandwich, or peanut butter and jelly, if you like, it seems a bit sacrilegious. Now, I'm only very new to the school of PB&Js, and I guess the peanut butter is, well, peanut butter, you know, so maybe there is butter in there already. So, you know, that's I don't think butter is necessary in there, but just about everything else, butter in your sandwiches, as much or as little as you like, but put it there. That being said, that brings me to another question. Peanut butter, crunchy or smooth? Let's continue destroying the Discord. Ain't I a stinker? That's going to do it for another 9-Bit Banter Box, guys. Thank you so much for writing in as always. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Now, before we move into our next section, we're going to turn it over to Brian with a little word about a long-time friend of Retrotopia. It is Retro Salvage Games. Take it away, Brian.
If you're looking to level up your retro game collection, we've got just the place for you. Head on over to RetroSalvageGames.com, the official retro game store of Retrotopia. Whether you're chasing down a childhood favorite, hunting the elusive cartridge, or just looking to grow your collection, Retro Salvage Games has something for every retro gamer. And because you're listening to Retrotopia, you can get 10% off your entire order. Just use the promo code JammyDodger at checkout. That's JAMMYDODGER for 10% off everything at RetroSalvageGames.com. Great games, great prices, and now an even better deal. Go check them out today.
All right, and genuinely, go check out, if you're interested in any of the games that we're talking about on the show, give Retro Salvage Games a chance and go and see what they've got there. I've poked through their website, and it is making my wallet hurt by all of the games that I want to buy off of that site. It's wonderful, and new stuff going up all the time. And again, as I said, just a great, great friend to the show. We love your Retro Salvage games. That being said, with love comes hate, and with choose one comes lose one.
Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's choose one, lose one, the game where everyone's a loser.
Alrighty, first up on Choose One, Lose One, we have Hooli, who says, how about the power to kill a yak from 200 yards away with mind bullets? That's telekinesis. Actually, that's what Retro Salvage Game says. Look, there he is. That's telekinesis, Hooli. Sorry to steal your thunder there, Retro Salvage Games. You can have the power to kill a yak from 200 yards away. Do you know where yaks live, Hooli? They live in Nepal, as far as I can tell, and at very high elevations as well. So your power is only useful in one place in the world. And because of the low oxygen that high, the first time you use it, you're going to pass out. And that's, yeah. So not a very useful power, that one. Munchie says, I would like a cool name that inspires games about me. Done. You can have a game based on Munchie. Mega Munchie's Fun. I don't know. But it's a mobile game with very, very predatory microtransactions, and everyone just kind of hates it. Such is the way of life these days. Everyone is greasy. Peter Brukers, and I still don't know how to say your name, Peter, and I am very, very sorry. How did I miss a third installment of Wonder Boy? I want to go be my young self again and buy a Master System with Wonder Boy 3. Done. I have sent you back in time with the information that you need to buy a Master System and enjoy the wonderful Wonder Boy 3. The problem is, now we've created a paradox because you go back in time to your younger self, play Wonder Boy 3, so now you have no need to go back in time to make sure that you play Wonder Boy 3, which means you never play Wonder Boy 3, which means you now have to go back in time and tell yourself to play Wonder Boy. Do you see where we're going with this? You've created a paradox that is going to destroy the entire fabric of the space-time continuum. Thanks, Peter. I was enjoying that continuum. Retro Salvage Game says, how about the power to move you? You can move me, if you like, Retro Salvage Games. Done. The problem is I'm going to control about as well as Wonder Boy does in this game. So you can move me, but I might not always do exactly what you tell me to. So that can get very frustrating very quickly. I am just very, very slippery. That's what it comes down to. And the almighty dog says, I would like the ability to transform into a dog and back. No sticking me with stuck as a dog forever. First of all, almighty dog, why would you not want to be stuck as a dog forever? Like, I think if I was if I transformed into a dog, I think I might just stay that way. What is better than being a dog, I ask you? That's the life for me. But anyway, you can transform into a dog and back. The problem is, the more you use this power, the more you start to adopt the behaviors of a dog. It starts off small at first, just the odd scratch behind the ear, you start wagging your non-existent tail. But you kind of get a bleeding effect of dog traits coming through. And this all ends up with you being arrested and charged with indecent exposure as you are found in the street licking your testicles. Assuming you have them, of course. Just licking your undercarriage in general. You get put away for a very, very long time, and you are no longer allowed near any kind of civilized society. So there you go. And that's going to do it for another Choose One, Lose One. Thanks for playing, guys. I love that section. It's so much fun. But let's keep this train a-rolling into the station that is the episode of the podcast, or something to that effect. Apparently, I've lost the ability to form coherent sentences, which is a bit of a snafu because, well, it's time for the gentleman's interlude.
Darkness falls across the kingdom. A dragon lies defeated. Yet the true battle has only just begun. The year is 1989. Developed by the legendary Westone and published by Sega. Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap, storms onto the Sega Master System, forever changing what players expected from an action-adventure. This wasn't merely another side-scrolling quest. It was a world that remembered, rewarded, and challenged every step you took. Your triumph over the fearsome Meka Dragon comes at a terrible cost. The curse transforms the young hero into a fire-breathing lizard man, stripping away his humanity. But in this kingdom, misfortune is power in disguise. Every dragon you defeat unlocks another form. The wall-climbing mouse man, the soaring hawk man, the unstoppable lion man, and the swift piranha man. Each transformation opens paths once thought impossible, turning every setback into the key to the next adventure. Long before the term Metroidvania entered gaming's vocabulary, the Dragon's Trap was quietly writing the rulebook. Hidden passages, secret treasures, ancient curses. Every return to familiar ground revealed another mystery waiting just beyond your reach. It was a game that trusted players to explore, to experiment, and to wonder. Nearly 4 decades later, this Master System masterpiece still stands tall. An unforgettable odyssey where every curse became a gift, every dragon guarded a destiny, and every victory whispered that the greatest adventures are never truly over.
All right, and moving on. And I've literally only just thought of this, and I probably should have put this up front in the plugs. But some of you may know, some of you may not, but I actually do audiobooks as well as podcasting about video games. And my second audiobook, Plausible in Parts, written by the wonderful James Dunlop, is actually out now and available on Audible, both in the US and the UK. Probably available in other places as well. But yeah, it was definitely a labor of love and had some very challenging accents and character work in there. So if you're at all interested, perhaps you like what you hear in the Gentleman's Interludes, why not head over to Audible and have a little listen to Plausible in Parts, Part 2 of the Andy Mackay thrillers, sequel to Half Made Up, which is also on Audible as well. But that's enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. And before we get to talking about the game, we would like to hear what you think of the game of the week, you lovely people. So first up, we're going to go with Munchie, who says, I have no idea what this game is about, but looking at screenshots, I'm already interested. Well, Munchie, maybe we can go some way to swaying you a little bit further. It is a great looking game, this one. And there we go. There's another example. And, you know, there's a few this week of people who don't actually know what this game is. And I love you guys, but that hurts my heart a little bit as a very old man who loves his old Sega games. Yeah, you know, let me sit around and let me educate you some. Okay? Retro Salvage Games again says, never played the game, but I sure do love the song. I mean, come on, who doesn't love the song? Tenacious D, Wonder Boy. Do you know what is the greatest? Well, perhaps not the greatest, but one of the biggest betrayals of my entire life is finding out that song actually has nothing to do with the games. It is completely unrelated. It is a completely different fabricated Wonder Boy that Jack Black and what have you came up with, and literally, it's just the same name, Wonder Boy. But I can't help, even to this day, thinking of the song when I think about this game series. So, do you know what? Canon is whatever we want it to be, and I choose to believe it's about this game. And speaking of, Hooli says this must be the one when you fight your arch rival and nemesis, young nasty man, to get away from the mucky muck, right? Did you find the secret to his power? Well, Hooli, for answers to that question, you're just going to have to listen to the episode, aren't you? And see if we do indeed find the secret to his power. Thanks, guys, as always, for writing in, but we're gonna get into the game chat now and talk a little bit of Wonder Boy 3. So, stock up on potions and choose your animal form wisely, and let us take you far away from the Mucky Muck Man as we talk a little bit of Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap, released for the Sega Master System in September of 1989, and also a little bit of Wonder Boy The Dragon's Trap, released in April of 2017. Thanks for listening, enjoy the show. And we are back to talk a little bit of Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. And I'm just now realizing that you're right. We do always start our episodes with all right. And now
all right.
And I'm not going to be able to unhear that now. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, I have to hear it every week. So do you.
With me, as always, to talk about these games of yore is the Wonder, which is Brian. And on the other side, the boy, Sam. How's it going,
and
guys?
The 3, Alan.
That's right. Sam, you're the boy. You lay out my formal shorts.
Yeah. Play with his hose pipe.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. No, he can't. There's a hose pipe ban, so he can't. So.
Oh, it's banned, yeah.
Yeah, it's banned, I'm afraid. Blame the drought. Blame the Saharan conditions going on in the UK at the moment. It sucks. How are you doing, guys? That is the quickest we've gone off the rails ever, I think.
Oh, we'll always go off the rails pretty quickly at the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to say I'm doing a smashing.
Smashing.
Love
to hear it. And surprising as well, actually, all things considered, which we'll get into.
I'm doing great. I would say because I finished the game. I haven't actually finished the game. I'm in like a rut where I've played enough of the game to talk about it, but not actually like rolled credits on a game in a while.
Yeah. You steamrolled through this one. You beat it before anyone else.
Well, I played it on Steam. So that's
no
why
pun
I
intended.
steamrolled it. Right. Yeah. So it was kind of the remake. It doesn't mean it was an easy game, I guess, but it was not probably had some quality of life we can get into.
I hope so, because I've not actually played the remake of this game, and I'm very interested to find out exactly how much is different. So this is going to be one of those episodes where neither one of us knows what the other is talking about because they've changed something, and that could be quite fun.
And I know what neither of you are talking about.
Well, I mean, that's normal, though. Nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. It's all just a bit up in the air. Now, I think I probably already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Wonder Boy, just in general. I mean, Wonder Boy 3 is obviously the game that we're talking about, released in, 1989 for the Sega Master System. That wonderful, my first ever games console, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah. I remember we had that in our very first home in Enfield, and it died an unfortunate death when me and my very young brother at the time were fighting over it and pulled it off the TV stand and apparently broke it.
No.
Well, this is the thing, though. I mean, you think about those old consoles and you have to wonder, like, did it break from falling off that TV stand, or was it just like packed away by our parents and we never saw it again? I don't know.
Yeah, could be that.
It's like when the cat moves to the farm or something like that. You know, it's just I don't know.
Dude, is that Enfield? Is in like the Enfield Poltergeist?
Yeah, that's me. I don't know what we're talking about.
Fucking awesome. There was a haunting in Enfield, England, in the 70s. That, yeah, it's an Enfield. So if that's the same Enfield, that's pretty fun.
I am going to look that up while Brian, why don't you tell us about your history with Wonder Boy 3, and just generally Wonder Boy in general, any of them.
I've played Monster Boy, I think. I think it was Monster Boy. It was on PlayStation Plus, and I think that's part of the same series, right? No, Alan is gone.
Yes.
But as a kid, I had friends, so I had an NES. Sega Master System, I didn't even know it existed until after the Genesis came out. So it's like, nobody really cared about the people who had Master Systems or these types of games. So I never played it as a youngin', but this is my first time playing through this one. That's my history.
I mean, and you may have already said this, I was looking into this Enfield Poltergeist thing, which, yes, to answer your question, Sam, is actually the same Enfield, and I was not aware that this was a thing. Little bit before my time, but that is very interesting. You may have said something about this, but did you play was it Adventure Island on the?
Oh yeah,
NES?
I played that on the NES, the superior version.
Debatable, debatable, but yeah, when good old Nintendo ripped off Wonder Boy and
wasn't
made
it the same company who made it and just ported it over to the over to the Nintendo, and then
I don't know. Don't try and dilute my anger.
Yeah, well, I'll look this up while Sam tells us about his history.
Go for it, Sam.
I didn't even know the Master System existed until only a few years ago. So no, I never played this. But playing it now, and I think the remake, or maybe we'd call it a remaster, because it really kind of is just the original game reskinned and maybe, like we said, a little like an autosave, a little quality of life improvement type deal. But it feels the Sega platformers that are not Sonic feel weird and slippery. So I don't know if that's getting too much into gameplay, but it definitely, like, when I started playing it definitely felt like almost like an Alex Kidd, or I've dabbled in games like that, and it's just like, even though I've never played this before, it does kind of have that feel to it.
We definitely will get into that when we talk about the gameplay a little bit more, but I don't disagree with that. There is a little bit of Alex Kidd in this game. I think Wonder Boy is far superior. I've had my troubles with Alex Kidd in the past. There's a quick play about it. Go and check it out. Cheeky plug. But yeah, I mean, I had played the first and second Wonder Boys. I'd completed the first one and made a pretty good amount of progress in Monsterland, which is the second one. And I'd only ever really dabbled briefly with Wonder Boy 3 because I didn't really get it the first time round. Because, back in the day, you're more used to your standard left to right kind of platformers. And that's what I was used to at the time. So I was just like, where am I going and what am I doing with this game? So I really thoroughly appreciated getting a chance to actually sit down with it. And I'm sure I suggested this game. And that's why, because I selfishly wanted an excuse to actually finally play Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. And I'm really glad that I did. It's not without its flaws, but I think that this is a game that really pushed the envelope and really tried to do a lot, considering the constraints of the system it was on.
Are the other ones like this, where you not necessarily switch forms, but pick up items that allow you to access other items? Some would call it a Metroidvania. Are the other ones like that, or are they more just action platformers?
I would definitely call this a Metroidvania. Which
oh my god, this is way before Metroidvanias. Metroidvania should be called Wonder Boy something else on Sega that was like Castlevania. Maybe Castlevania, so Wonder Boy Vanias.
I mean, this was 1989. Like, when was the...
Well, Metroid was 1987, right?
But I thought Metroidvanias was based off of the Super Metroid and...
No, I would argue that the original Metroid was... I don't know if it's the earliest example of that style of gameplay, but it definitely is well within that definition. I just don't know which came first. But no, to answer your question, Sam, I mean, the first game, Wonder Boy, is literally, it's Adventure Island. If you've ever played that, it's left to right, running, jumping, sometimes skateboarding, and losing all your health while you try and eat fruit to keep it pumped up. Monsterland is more or less an action platformer, but it does start to sneak in some of those kind of RPG elements by letting you like collect money, buy new armors, new weapons, and things like that. But by and large, it is well within the realms of an action platformer. What I really like about Wonder Boy 3, and this is getting a little bit into story, but it picks up literally at the end of, let's call it Wonder Boy 2 for sake of argument. Because that first level that you are playing in Wonder Boy 3 is the last level of Wonder Boy 2. So, you pick up that adventure just as it ends. You defeat the Meka Dragon, and Wonder Boy there is cursed by the dragon and to basically be, I guess, a lizard person. And the rest of the game is just finding all of these other dragons to slay until you get the... I can't think what the cross was called. The something cross to break the curse. We'll call it the something cross because I can't fucking remember what it's called. But yeah, what follows is basically a Metroidvania as you get all of these different forms, all of these different abilities, and work your way through essentially the same areas to different effects to complete the game. And as far as stories go, good enough for me. What do you think?
Well, the beginning of the game, having not played the one that precedes it, was pretty. Now that you mention that it picks up where the last one left off, and that's kind of why you fight that Meka Dragon at the beginning. It was just really weird. Like, it's like this feels like a final boss, but it's almost like a castle, like when Castlevania starts out and you have to fight like. Is it Symphony of the Night where you like actually fight Dracula to start with? And it's just like, this is a really weird way to start this game.
I hadn't thought of that, and I should have.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point.
It is kind of the same thing. But yeah, I was like, what is happening? I was really confused for a while until I kind of got my legs under me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
It does make sense though, because you are literally not even thrown into the middle of things. You are thrown into the end of things. And it's a slightly different and I guess diluted version of the end of the previous game because it has to be, right? But I think that's a really cool way to start a game.
It's like when you flip on the TV and it's like now joining a boss battle already in progress.
I kind of enjoyed the first level, the fact that it was almost it wasn't almost, it was amazing. You had to figure a way out through it, and it gave me plenty of time to hate the controls.
Yeah, there's a good reason for that. I mean, fuck it. We've got kind of the meat of story, and we'll tackle a bit more about the story as we go along. But you know what? Let's give Brian his due and let him go off on the gameplay a little bit. Brian, why don't you tell us what you had so much trouble with the controls?
It's not anything really. It just took a while to get used to. And when I got to that first dragon in the game, you have to jump and hit him in the face. And you can't jump and swing your sword at the same time. You have to jump, and then you have to swing your sword when you get to the peak of your jump, which is based on how long you hold down the jump button. And it was frustrating and it was annoying, and I got tired and I was cranky and I didn't have enough beer that day. That's about it.
Yeah.
After a while, I got used to them.
I don't know that this game is one that you can play with too much beer in you because it is challenging. Just enough. It's like bowling. You just need that sweet spot of beer. Just like 2 or 3 and you're good to go. I've got to say though, I never had that problem. I felt like Wonder Boy or Human or Tom Tom or whatever the fuck you want to call him, you could slash at any point in that jump. Now, it wasn't always high enough to hit the dragon's face, I'll give you that much. But the controls are a little bit... It is a legitimate gripe. They are a little bit tricky, a little bit slippery in this game.
Yeah, I didn't find it to be as bad as what Brian described, so maybe they cleaned up some of the controls a little bit, because I found that you could jump and then attack, or do them kind of simultaneously to get your your attacks up where you need them to be. But
No,
yeah, it was definitely weird.
I also was playing with an 8-bit do on an emulated version of the game, so that might be a big reason why things were all kind of screwy.
Yeah, it could have been some weird latency, I guess.
You know, which is why I'm not going to sit there and, judge the game based on the shitty controls of when I wasn't even actually playing on the, native hardware.
No, sure. But I mean, I was playing on the native hardware, and even for me, it took some time to get used to the actual physics of just moving around in the game. Like, it is a fast-paced game, and you don't stop on a dime. Like, you will literally almost skid to a stop, which is sometimes far enough to like get you in trouble if you're not paying attention. It is slidey.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, I found it generous enough in the sense that it's fairly generous with the enemy's hitboxes and fairly stingy with your own. So, by and large, by the time you've noticed something on the screen, you can react to it in time and get a good hit in. It's harder for you to get hit than it is for them to get hit. But when you're going at the speeds that you're often moving through this game, that doesn't make a lot of difference.
Yeah, and the other thing that I found really challenging was every time you would beat a boss, you would get a new form. And I don't know if this is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but it does kind of factor into the controls, because every time you were, cursed by the next boss to take on the next form and then move on, I had to like relearn how to work within the constraints of that form. So like, especially the little mouse and then the bird, like it was almost like the attack was much shorter, especially with the mouse, obviously, because he's a little mouse, but you really had to like get up real close to the enemies and hit them with the sword. And I was getting destroyed for a while.
Yeah, how did they not get sued for basically ripping off Mickey Mouse?
It does look
very
like
Mickey Mouse looking,
a very squat looking Mickey Mouse. Right.
They do fix that in the remaster, where like, so I guess, well, I'll get into more of my thoughts on the remaster, but you could swap between graphical styles and sound and stuff. I mean, the remaster version does not look anything like the original, and when I flip back to the original on the mouse, I was like, oh wow, it's Mickey.
It for sure is
like a stupid looking Mickey.
That's interesting. I love it when a game does that, though. When a remaster lets you go back and actually see, just being able to switch immediately between the two styles. I find that so charming. And by and large, like I'll flick between the two, but eventually I will end up just going back to the original graphical style. Like it happened with Halo. It happened with probably something else I can't remember now. Something else did
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. Well, I only played the original, so
right. Yeah, I was able to play the remaster, and like, yeah, you can seamlessly swap back and forth.
Yeah, that was actually a really neat feature, and it became actually part of the gameplay.
Round triangles, round triangles, round triangles.
Boob goes up, boob goes down, boob goes up,
yeah, right.
boob goes down.
But I mean, you're right. Obviously, we're going to be all over the place with this one, but the different forms, you're absolutely right. It does feel like you're playing almost 4 or 5 completely different games, because they are very, very different in how they play from each other. Right?
I don't know.
I mean, did you get any of the
remaster? I didn't play the original, but I
just mean in general.
Oh, you mean the characters? Sorry, I kind of tuned out.
The character. I was gonna say the characters of the game, like the versions, because I only played the one.
Oh no, just the different forms of lizard man.
They're very different, I would say. Yeah, because some of them are bigger sprites.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. Like it was a really neat gameplay aspect to kind of lock you out of certain parts of the dungeon. Not the dungeon, the levels.
And there's your quintessential Metroidvania thing. That's and as a hook all of these different curses that Wonder Boy goes through. I thought that was a really cool way, even just story wise, to explain why you can't go to different places and do different things.
It does that thing that I love in games like this, and I guess either a Castlevania or a Metroid or what's the actual term for besides Metroidvanias? I'm just going to use the term. I don't give a shit. In a Metroidvania, I love being able to see the parts of the parts of the environment that you're going to be able to interact with your other, in this case, forms or items or equipment or whatever you get. So like, for example, the mouse could walk on the ceiling or on up the side of the wall if the blocks had a checkerboard pattern. It's like you would see those checkerboard blocks everywhere, and you have to kind of like try to remember or just like save it for when you get back to it. I can walk on those blocks, or those blocks are eventually breakable, and how you manage that, because the line can kind of attack down a little bit, like that kind of stuff. I love seeing in advance, like, wow, that's over there and I can't get it.
I can't do it now, but I bet at some point I'll find some way to do that. And yeah, that is always a very rewarding thing. Like, it's that eureka moment where you're like, oh, I can do this now. Oh, that thing I couldn't get to earlier on, now I can go and try that again. And that's kind of why, like, Metroidvanias are undeniably my favorite genre of game, because I just love that exploration, and I love that moment of dawning realization. We're just like, oh, I've cracked this puzzle. I wonder what's over the next horizon. It's a wonderful mechanic to have in a game.
Double-edged sword on that one. One of the reasons I don't like Metroidvanias very often is because I'm not somebody who remembers of things I've already passed. So it's like, now I got this. What am I supposed to do? And then I go back and I don't remember the whole level I was just in. So more of a me thing than a Metroidvania. But you know what? I'm going to blame Metroidvanias.
Do you know what? It's complete sidebar on this one. But there was that Prince of Persia that came out recently. And I'm trying to think what it was called. It was the Metroidvania one. I can't. I'm not going to be able to remember it. But that had a mechanic in it where you could literally place a marker on the map with a little photograph of the area, just to, if there was something you needed to remember. And that is a mechanic I think more games need. Just let me like put a little snap of what it is that I'm trying to figure out on the map somewhere, so I can look back at it and go, nope, still can't figure that out. Or, oh, hang on, yep, that's an area I need to go back to now. That is a very cool thing they did there. But this game does not do that. In fact, this game is very stingy with its instructions, at least on the Master System version.
Well, in the remaster, it did, even on all of the bosses are relatively the same, just different forms of dragons that do slightly different things. And you have to hit them all in the head. But if you were like, every single one of them was the same, but every single time I would get to a boss, the game would flash this little message on the bottom of the screen saying, like, you can only hit the dragon on the head. Well, just like, I know, like, by this point I've fought like 5 of them. I'm good.
That is more than I got. This is definitely, like, the Master System version gives you nothing. And this is a game that, if you're playing on original hardware, please, I beg of you, read the manual, because for the longest time, I did not know that the mouse could walk up those blocks that you were talking about earlier on. I found that out by looking at the manual. It's just like, these blocks are what the mouse can run on. I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Something that back in those days, like, you had to rely on that manual. But like, the nice thing about the remaster is it'll tell you, like, when you, I don't know if it exactly tells you, because like the fish man can swim and the bird can fly and that kind of stuff. I don't know that it explicitly tells you that, but I think for the little mouse man, I don't know if it flashed a little message, but I figured out pretty quick that he could run up the walls.
I'd already watched kind of a video of what was going on, and I thumbed through it really quick, and I saw the mouse walking on the ceiling, so that's how I knew about it.
I see. That is handy. And it's not...
I do that for older games because it's a lot easier than like thumbing through the game manual if you can find a good copy online.
Makes perfect sense. Like, there are some really good videos out there. And, the mouse is kind of... because you look at the mouse and you think, well, he's small, ergo I can go through small places, and that is the primary function. Like all of these different forms that you can take, they kind of make sense. It's like, okay, I'm a fish man, so I can now swim. Makes sense. I'm a bird
I
man.
did not
can
realize
fly.
I was a fish man for the longest fucking time.
the
he
sprite
he
in the old
doesn't-
version looks really weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
doesn't
true.
look like a fish man, and he's like swimming there. And then when you get to the end of the game, it kind of tells you what they all are. And it's just like, well, one, they're going to get sued for the Mickey Mouse, and the other one, they're going to get sued for Hawkman. But you know.
Yeah. I guess Fish Guy was, or Piranha Man, I think he's called, was a little bit indistinguishable
Piranha
from Lizard Man. Like they're kind of similar in their sprites, but
I
don't
thought,
know.
yeah, it was just an evolved form of Lizard Man.
Maybe it's the Silurians from Doctor Who that are in my mind, because it's just like that looks like a fish man. So guess I can swim now. But the mouse and the blocks kind of feels like a little bit extra. It's like you just think, okay, I'm small, I can get to small places now. Like you're not gonna think, oh, I can climb up things. That's an odd secondary function for that.
Was this game ever released for the Genesis?
No, and this is where things get very, very messy, because there was a Wonder Boy 3 for the Mega Drive, but it's a completely different game.
Okay,
Yeah, that was
because I'm
fucking me
seeing
up.
other.
Yeah, no
Yeah, I
doubt.
was seeing other screenshots. I was just like looking up some stuff, and I was like, that looks much better than what the graphics of the Wonder Boy we played are. So that there must be something different.
I
That's kind of
think
cool.
so. I think this one, Dragon's Trap, was a purely console game that was a sequel to Wonder Boy 2, whereas the one on the Mega Drive was like a port of like Wonder Boy 3, the arcade game. I don't quote me on that, but I think that's where that confusion comes from. I mean, the whole series, Wonder Boy, Monster Girl, it's a fucking mess.
Yeah. Can I say one thing? Is that, and this might piss some people off, McG, but like the Mega Drive boxes and the game cartridges themselves are so fucking boring and ugly looking. Like I have no desire to play them.
Now, hang on, let me clarify.
disagree.
You said Mega Drive. Like, did you mean
Oh,
Master
sorry.
System?
Yes, I meant
Master
Master
System.
System. Yeah, the
But
Master System cartridges are
You're
so
right
drab.
that they're so plain, like they're just drawn on construction or like graph paper. But goddamn, if they aren't funny as fuck. I was while we were talking, I was updating
They're
the
hilarious.
logo for this episode with the actual box art from the game, because I'm like, that is so fucking ugly that I want it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
listen,
pretty bad.
the Master System has huge nostalgic love from me, but even I can admit that some of those boxes, it's like fucking, I don't know if it's black belt or kung fu or something like that, and it's just literally a dude's foot on the, and it's just like, some of it is just so shockingly bad. I mean, this Wonder Boy is actually one of the better ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they put some time
it's
into
not
it.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not terrible. But then like the cartridge itself is just like a kind of black cartridge with this like ugly brown little tiny label on the top that has just the name of the game in like Times New Roman. Like,
It's
what are we
half
doing?
a step
Give-
up from an Atari cart.
Yeah, it's like give
Yeah.
me a nice label on my game that has some color on it.
I can't
That's what
argue that.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I mean, the game itself is anything but ugly.
That's
Like,
true.
this is a
I
It's
will
butt- it's butt
concede that
ugly.
one. I will concede that this is actually a very good looking game for an 8-bit console, and it's also a very ambitious game for an 8-bit console.
couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So much going on in here, and yeah, it looks like the sprites are massive but not intrusive. Like the different areas. I mean, because obviously it's you've got to have a different areas in Metroidvanias, so they're all very nice and distinct from each other. It just and. I don't mean to go on this whole tirade about Master System versus NES. Both consoles do things better than the others, but I will die on the hill that Master System games look better than NES games.
I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, the nice thing that I like about the graphics in the older version is that you can actually like really, really tell easily what you can interact with and what you can't interact with as far as your the powers of your various forms. Like the checkerboard boxes are really easy to distinguish. The boxes that you can later break are very easy to distinguish. Sometimes some of the challenge, and I don't necessarily think it's a detriment in a game like Metroid, but sometimes some of the things that you can blow up or interact with are obscured by other graphical assets. Like it's part of a rock wall and you can kind of like roll into a ball and jump into it and it's hidden, so that makes it kind of hard to tell where you can go, and I often get stuck in Metroid games because of that. This, like, I wasn't getting stuck because I couldn't tell what I could interact with.
No, I'd argue that the map is like the world itself is actually probably smaller than a Metroid game, like even Metroid on the NES.
All day long.
Yeah, for sure.
That's probably where you got your memory savings, is you didn't have to load all these assets onto these tiny cartridges, so you could focus more on making the game look a lot prettier. So it's not so much what's more powerful, it's but how you utilize your resources.
It makes sense.
Right.
I mean,
smaller game, smaller map, a little more direct versus larger map with more stuff outside of graphics inside of it. So
it
that's
definitely
like Brian.
does enough.
It's like Brian took a class for this stuff.
Yeah, one of us has done some schooling.
Well, it's just something I am actually really interested in, is these old games and how they basically did what they did on cartridges now that we can't even fit a JPEG on.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right though. I mean, it is for a Metroidvania, it is a very small map, but I think it does enough. And I think
it does, absolutely.
Any bigger, and I think this would have gotten old fast, because
what they did that was smart is the reusing of maps by making the characters only able to go into only able to go into certain parts of maps with the characters. So they were able to maximize the individual map simply by leaving areas unobtainable until you got said character. It's brilliant in a way.
And also it almost acts like, like the quote unquote Metroidvania elements of this really exist primarily in kind of the hub world, which is that town that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you kind of, access whatever level that you need to go to with the character that you are, once you get into those levels, they're actually pretty linear.
They turn into a platformer. Yeah,
right. The exploration and the different elements of the abilities really exist primarily on that hub world. There are some exceptions to that, but yeah, for the most part, like once you're the Birdman and you get into that Birdman stage, you're just Birdman through that whole stage, and you just go left to right.
That's one thing I do have an issue with this game. I really wish they'd found a way where you could cycle through the different forms, and it would be a little more fun than having to find that platform that changes you and you have to cycle through there. But you know, if you could do it on the fly, it would speed the game up a little bit, and it would be easier to make puzzles, because you could have this section where you have to fly up, then change to the mouse and crawl under something.
Yeah, I can see where it makes sense, at least in the early going, but I agree that when you've got all of those abilities, you should be able to just cycle through them
and
at that point.
Well, you do that boss rush at the end there where you have to go through each of the, or not the boss rush, the levels, I think it is. You have to go through each of the characters.
That's right, yeah. The bird stage, in air quotes, you do have to cycle through which I liked that you had to.
Yeah, it was interesting. It lets you reuse everything.
Yeah, and just get through these little sections with the characters. That was very, very cool. And at that point, thanks to a glitch in the game's programming, very, very fucking easy.
What's this glitch?
Oh, so I mean, obviously
you gotta explain. You can't just leave us hanging.
Like any good RPG, Metroidvania, what have you, there are all sorts of different weapons and armor and all of that good stuff. Swords you can find, armors you can find, shields you can find, all of that good stuff. And one such armor in the Master System version, at least, I imagine they have to have patched it for the remaster. But the Hades armor is something that I came across, which is effectively an armor. It's a perishable armor that when you equip, if you die, it will refill your health completely and then just completely disappear from your inventory, and you'll go back to whatever armor you were wearing before. Makes sense. It is horribly glitched in the Master System version, though, whereas if you use the Hades armor and die, and then never change your armor again in the game, it will keep having the same effect every time you die.
Somebody didn't test their game.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So basically, every time I started to think, what the fuck is going on? Because you get these potions that will give you an extra life, which are a fucking godsend, because this game is by no means easy. And when you die, you basically use the potion and come back. It's like your extra life. And I was just like, I've run out of potions. How do I keep coming back to life every single time? And yeah, it turns out it's because I'd found this particular armor, used it once, and then it just kept the effect going the entire rest of the game, which was only like the last dungeon, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think the Hades armor did that in the remake.
No,
I think
they've had to have fixed it by then.
Yeah, no, it's fixed. Like, it didn't even do the thing where it disappears from your inventory and all that kind of stuff. It just kind of is a nice set of armor.
Cool.
I like that some of the items, and I would imagine having a manual would have been helpful, because I did have to look something up that I would not have figured out.
The magical sword.
Yeah, that would have taken me forever. But I would imagine that back in the day, if you're playing this on the original Master System, you would have read the manual, and it probably has a description of what all the weapons do.
You would think you'd have read the manual.
Well, right, but I mean, there's the armor that allows you to go into lava without getting hurt, which is really useful.
I've got a fucking problem with that armor.
Yeah, there's that magic sword that transforms. It's weird. It transforms star tiles into blocks.
Oh yeah, that one was fun.
Yeah, I mean,
how would anyone have figured that out? I mean,
I had to look it up. There was no way.
You put on your best sword that you just got and get lucky, I guess. That's how we figured everything out back then.
But that's the thing, is like, I don't know if I did things a little out of order or what, or if it just because you could shop at the shops and get the best stuff. But like, by the time I actually found that magic sword, I had like 5 swords that were better than that. So there was no way that I would have just like equipped that one and gone and swung it around. But yeah, it's just, that particular section was a little bit frustrating. So it was like, okay, finally I figured out what to do by looking it up. And it's like, I would have never figured that out. Are you kidding? Like, the magic sword turns these tiles into blocks, and then there's one specific block that you have to hit and then break, and then it turns into like a little question box that opens a door. It's like, I would have never figured that out.
No. And every other time you've found one of those question blocks, it's made sense. Like, you get that thunder sword, which allows you to break other blocks, and you're just like, well, now every time I see one of those blocks, I'm going to hit it with this sword. Yeah. And, makes sense. And sometimes you'll get a question block and a secret door will open. It's like, oh, great, that's awesome. But that particular room was, I just got in there, I was just like, there's nothing here.
Did you know that the little lizard form that you have, the first part of the game, he can break blocks Mario style by like headbutting them?
No.
Yep. But I don't know how useful it is. Like, it kind of feels like that was a half-baked or like underutilized concept, unless you're supposed to like go back and get the lizard and then there's more stuff that you can find. But I kind of found that out on accident in that main, there's that main switch point in the kind of the hub village.
Yeah.
And I just happened to jump and hit the block and it broke. I was like, oh damn, he can, because I mean, he's got spikes on his head, but like, yeah, that's his deal, is that he can break blocks from below.
I'd never stumbled across that. I guess by then I had like the lion guy who has that arcing swing, which means you can hit things above and below you. So I just never really, that's wild.
Yeah. It's kind of useless, but I mean, like the little lizard guy, for, he can't reach a lot of stuff, unfortunately, because he is your kind of base form. But yeah, the little fire breathing thing was great because it actually had some range to it. And then go from that lizard right to the mouse that has like the little dinky needle sword just like fucking sucked. It made it so hard.
He did have a shield though, and I found the shields very, very useful. Because...
Yeah, the shields are good, but still, it's just like to attack, like you have to leave yourself a little vulnerable, and I had to get like right up next to whatever I was attacking.
Especially in that fucking desert.
Yes,
that was awful. And that's the thing. There were these huge long stretches between the hub village and the dungeon that you need to get to, and those were literally the hardest part of the games. Like once you got to the dungeon, you were all right, assuming you'd made it there with enough fucking health to get through it. But
there was a part as the bird that really was difficult for me, and because you had to like fly through stuff, and swimming was a lot easier than flying and trying to keep the bird on a straight course. And what ended up being the prize at the end of this little difficult level that killed me several times was like the bird stone or something. Like there's like these additional stones that you could get. Like I didn't even know what they did, if it was just a collectible or what, but I was just like, that's it. That's not even where I'm supposed to be going.
I don't even
all that.
I don't even think that was in the original game.
It might have been an extra thing, but I just like, yeah.
Or I just didn't find them.
Right. It's like this extra little section, and it was super hard. And then all I got was it was like the Hawkman stone or something like that. I don't know what it did.
Great. Brian, you were going to say something.
No, I was just sitting back and letting Sam have at her. But I will say something. I will carry the conversation forward. Is how long it took me to realize that those things they drop is not just money and stuff, but it's actually items you can use, like tornadoes. I did not know that for the longest time. I didn't read the manual, and I quickly glossed through a video just to kind of get the gist of it, and I never came across that. So I finally went into my inventory and I'm like, might as well try this out. And then, I had the Final Fantasy Elixir thing going on, right? You didn't want to use them because you didn't want to waste them, but they're plentiful because you'll keep getting them. So I started using them more often. They're a pretty handy little mechanic in the game.
Plus, you always just kind of lose them when you die anyway. So I naturally just assumed, I must have a section where I play as just plain old Wonder Boy, and I must be saving it for that, because I could not figure out how to use those things for the life of me, because I think you have to like press like up and jump or down and jump or something, some combination of buttons there to actually use them.
Oh, geez. What's the Master System controller look like? I don't even know.
It looks basically like an NES controller.
Well, yes, but do you notice the lack of any kind of start or select button on there?
Oh, yeah.
That's because you pause the game from the console.
Oh, yes. God. What the fuck?
So every time I needed to get into my inventory, I have to press the button on the console. And it's, it's an old console, so I have to hope that I don't drunkenly knock the cartridge while I'm going for that, because that has been known to completely fuck the game up in the past. So, yeah, that's a fun little quirk of the era.
That's interesting. What the hell? What a weird...
I know,
what
right?
a weird console. Like, if I ever find one for an affordable price, I would consider picking one up just to, like, fuck around with it, because I've never played one.
It's well worth it. It's a great little system.
But that said, the remaster version, it was really easy to use those secondary items because it was on one of the other buttons.
Oh,
so
you have so many buttons in this modern age.
You just don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A great button shortage of the 1980s was out there. That's why you only got 2 buttons on the NES and the Master System.
And
the 70s was the gas crisis, and the 80s was the button crisis. But yeah, those like tornadoes and little fireballs were really easy. Were really easy to use, and they were great for enemies that were just like in an annoying position, or would be like jumping around or something like that. It's just like, just use that and hit them high where you can't.
And that's what made the tornado really good, is because it would just bounce all over the place and take everyone out.
Yep. Yeah, the tornado was the best one. The arrow was the shittiest one. It just went straight up in the air.
I just never used that.
It was so dumb.
I mean, I used the lightning. I think I used the fireball once or twice. But
yeah, the fireball was okay. It did like a wave kind of thing.
But it is useful because there are so many different enemies in this game. They really pack it out. Like, you got shit attacking you from the ceiling, like jumping across the screen, crawling along the ground. Like, there's all sorts going on. So it's nice to have all of those at your disposal.
18 enemies. There are 18 different enemies.
That's pretty good.
But there were also ones, they were different colors too. So there was like, there was, if there was
27.
27.
Wow.
Damn, that's a lot. Plus with different colors, it's like, so there was like a little ogre dude, but there was like an orange one, and then the toughest ones were always the blue ones, would take extra hits.
Oh, so many hits. Like, unless you had a decent sword. And that's something else that I really liked about this game, is that depending on what form you were in, the weapons and armor and shields and what have you had different effects to your stats. So, a sword that worked really well for, say, Lion Man was not so good for Piranha Man. Like, there was a good amount of experimentation with the different accoutrements that you had for your character.
Yeah, I bet that wasn't really very well explained in the Master System version, but in the remaster version, if you hovered over that item in your inventory or you were at the shop, it would say like, this gives Mouse Man plus 30 attack or whatever.
Yeah.
And it would kind of give, mostly in kind of cryptic hints or whatever. It's like, this is I don't know. I'm just making this up, but something like this is a charismatic weapon, and then it gives the mouse plus whatever. But it's like, okay, maybe if it's charismatic, maybe it's for the lion or something like that. Like, like those kind of little clues.
See, now I wonder if, because you and this is leading into perhaps one of my biggest gripes with the entire experience, is the charisma.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to use it, so I just skipped it.
You needed to buy certain weapons, so you collect charisma, and once you get up to a level, you can buy a particular type of weapon. If you don't have enough charisma, doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that was so frustrating, because I got to a point where I had become Piranha Man, and Piranha Man has a naturally low charisma. Now, you can increase your charisma by, as Brian said, different armors and shields and what have you. But you can also increase it by collecting these gems that enemies sometimes drop, very rarely, but they will permanently increase your charisma by a point. And I got to a point where I could not get any further, because I could not buy the fucking dragon armor that I needed to cross the sea of lava to get to that one particular, like, I don't know, I think it was the place that had the thunder sword or whatever. I just could not get to it. And I'm looking things up, and it's saying, oh, there's a way as Piranha Man, you can sort of cheese it. I was just like, well, it ain't fucking working for me. So I got to a point, and literally it was just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue with this game, because I can't buy anything. I can't increase my charisma. I'm not going to sit around and grind for like 4 days to get my charisma up. What the fuck am I going to do? Oh my God, it was so frustrating.
Yeah, I think
I solved it.
Yeah, I think I must have lucked out, because I think is it the armor, the dragon armor, the one that let you hang out in the lava?
Yeah.
Because I think I lucked out, because I must have found that section just at the right time as I was exploring, and I got across the lava. I picked my way across there, and then found that shop that sold it and had enough money and apparently charisma, because I had no idea that was a factor, but just like bought it and it was fine.
Yeah. And you see that, I see what they were going for, and I appreciate it as like an extra mechanic in the game. Like, I think it does add a layer of something to it. I just don't know if it was all the way thought through. Now, somebody who knows this game inside and out is probably shouting at me like, I could have done this or I could have done that. And it's just like, yeah, that's as may be, but I could not figure out how I was going to get past this particular section. And then I tried something, and I'm as surprised as anyone to find that it worked. Because what I did, I've actually played 2 versions of this game, because I thought, you know what? Let me take my password and put it into the Game Gear version and see what happens. And wouldn't you know it, the passwords are completely interchangeable between Game Gear and Master System. And I don't know whether the Game Gear version just ignores charisma altogether, or if it has lower thresholds for charisma. But it allowed me to just go straight to that shop and buy the Dragon Mail. And then obviously I could save, get a new password, put it into my Master System version, and there I was away. And I just thought, wow.
Hacker.
Hacker man.
That's actually really cool.
Right? Now, there is not a world of difference between the Master System and the Game Gear, as evidence, because we used to have the attachment, which literally allowed you to play your Master System games on your Game Gear. So it made sense.
Interesting.
Game Gear version of Wonder Boy 3, very, very good. Apart from some quirky changes in level design, pretty much the same game. So
that's actually really neat.
That was my mystery story about how I solved Wonder Boy 3.
Well, I like that. I like that's thinking with your noggin. That's
it's my one good idea that I'm allowed for the year.
All right. Way around that, because honestly, like you said, you would have really had a tough time progressing in the game if you had not done that.
Yeah. It also helped
cool
my
interchangeable.
Yeah, it kind of helped my productivity as well with actually getting this game beat in time for the podcast. It's just like,
yeah, exactly.
If I was at work, I could just play a little bit more and then save the password and then go back to it later on.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
like
would only cost you 1,000 batteries.
It's like the late 80s, early 90s version of crossplay. I don't know, like a crossplay or just like putting your console to sleep. Like, yeah, I can take this on the go because I also have it on Game Gear and I have the passcode.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah,
really, really cool. So what was everyone's favorite? Did anyone have a favorite transformation?
No.
Least favorite? Most favorite?
I like the mouse. The mouse was actually kind of an interesting concept. The bird was kind of fun, underutilized as fuck.
It's kind of that late game thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Other than that, everything else, the lion was just a powerful lion. The dragon was clunky and, not fun to control. And what else do we have? The fish guy. I didn't even realize he was a fish guy. So his superpower is swimming.
Yeah.
Swimming, yeah. Fish guy was okay. I didn't love. I thought fighting with the bird guy, because once you're the bird guy, it's like, oh, it's open season for like having obnoxious flying enemies and shit all over the screen. And also, it was the flying controls were really just kind of like floaty, and it was hard to land a hit because you would have to fly. So you'd have to be hitting the button to fly, and then you'd have to like quick switch over to your attack button and back. So there wasn't really a good way to like fly and attack at the same time. There was always a little bit of latency there. It just didn't work. And that what ended up being the final boss was that was it like vampire the vampire dragon?
Yes.
That took me so many fucking tries.
Face in the chest.
I didn't even bother trying to fly with that thing. I just waited until it was grounded and jumped.
Exactly. I figured that out after an embarrassing number of tries, but I think my favorite one was the lion, just because the attack was so versatile, because he was attacking in like kind of that arc in front of him, so you could hit stuff a little bit above you and a little bit below, and I just thought that was the easiest to work with.
I thought that was useful, but kind of slow.
He's slow.
It took me a minute to get used to. I think I'm going to have to agree with Brian.
The mouse?
I really enjoyed playing as the mouse because I liked the mechanic of being able to run up walls and the ceiling. There were some really interesting ways that it was used, especially on that one dungeon that you had to like work your way up to the top and then drop back down and then work your way up again. Like, I found that by far and away the most interesting dungeon in the entire game.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I just didn't like.
He's basically the Raphael of the entire game. There, he has a short range attack, but he's fun to play with.
Yeah,
I just didn't like his little. I didn't like his little sword.
Hey, some of us have to live with little swords.
Well, not all of us do.
Thump.
You're right. Yeah.
You actually slapped the table. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh,
with his hand.
With his hand.
Wow. Oh yeah, definitely had to be my hand.
It's radio. We have no proof of that.
That's true. It's true.
I don't know. I mean, what else? What else is there to talk about? I mean, we've done kind of the story, which is fine. It's a good enough story. The gameplay, music. You know,
It's music.
it is very enjoyable music. But where I gave the Master System the credit for looking better than the NES, I've got to obviously swing back the other way. The NES will always have better music than the Master System. There's no denying it. But this, it's a fun little soundtrack. It's never annoying. It's just it's no Mega Man, but I don't know.
No, but I liked it. I liked being able to, just like the graphics, I liked being able to switch between the pixel version and the remastered actual music version,
Yeah.
and it was just kind of cool because it's like, oh, I'd be playing in the newer version, and then I'd just like flip it back, like wonder what everything looked and sounded like, and then I'd flip it back because I actually did prefer the graphics, like it was like looked hand painted or hand drawn. The graphics on the remastered version are really, really good.
So is it music wise? Is it the same tracks, just updated,
Yeah.
or it is? Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's just like a I guess just like a non chiptune version of the.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm
sound.
really gonna have to
Yeah.
pick up this. Definitely gonna have to pick up this remaster at some point because this is definitely.
Especially since it's affordable by you.
That's true. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I don't even know if it's limited run where we are. Like, I'll have to look that up. But yeah,
you can get the remake on your Android.
Oh, can you?
Yeah,
I'm
looking it up right now.
That being said, like I don't think I could play this game with those controls on a phone. Or I don't know about that.
Oh,
I think I'll get it on like PlayStation or something. But I don't know. Is there anything we missed? Is there anything that you guys feel like we haven't covered? I mean, we could talk about the bosses, but as you said, they're all pretty much different varieties of dragon at different varieties of bullshit level.
The sprites were cool.
Yes,
and the I would flip back and forth on each one just between the sprites and the hand drawn updated graphics. They all looked really fun. They were pretty imaginative. Like I thought there was one that was absurdly easy that I think was like the zombie dragon or whatever. It was just like it would pop up and like kind of look like it was swimming in a swamp, and all you had to do is just be on the correct side of it and hit it, and it was like it didn't even get off any attacks on me.
I'm embarrassed by how long it took me to actually figure that out. Because because it moves across the screen right underground, and if you just hop over it, eventually it would just pop out of the ground. You smack it, it goes back down again, and like I was giving it way too much time to actually start getting attacks off. And that's another thing I just really didn't enjoy about this game is that you will get stun locked impossibly so.
Yes, I forgot about that. That was pretty irritating and happened a lot.
Did you just get battered across the screen, like an enemy would just be walking and you'd just be like bash, 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 bash? Yeah, I did not love that.
At least while you were flickering in that stun lock, you were. I don't think you got hit extra, and I don't know if it's like that in the. Sounds like it's the same for you, but like, it is still frustrating. It's like, okay, I got hit. Like, let me just kind of recover and
go again. Yeah.
To the game's credit, once you're in that stun lock, you don't get any more damage, but it is just annoying that you're just locked until you just have to kind of sit and wait until
it
whatever
decides to like give you a break. Yeah.
Yeah.
that did piss me off. But
So that happened to me a lot actually on the final boss, which is that vampire one. Fucking sucked. But once I figured out how, I was just like, I overthought it. Like I realized I could just jump up because I think the hitbox was a little fucked because you're supposed to hit it in the head, and I'm as the bird person trying to hit it in the head, and apparently I was a little too high because like really where like the contact point was like the neck.
Well, actually, I mean, I can only speak for the Master System version, but it's the face in the chest that you need to be hitting.
Oh yeah, then for the remaster, it's too high.
That's weird.
It was weird, yeah.
But still, I mean, fucking cool little game though for what it did right.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Brian, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I think it's time to wrap it up.
Well, why don't you start wrapping it up for us then?
Well, what can I say about? I was about to say Monster Boy, which I keep calling this game. Wonder Boy 3, interesting concept, very ambitious game for an 8-bit console. Definitely something that probably would have been a lot bigger had it been on the NES. And I'm not saying that because the NES is better. I'm simply saying it because it had more visibility. So it's kind of interesting how under the radar this game went, and obviously has definitely quite the following, but it is the following of the people who played the Master System. And when I looked up the numbers, it was pretty low amount of sales for the actual Master System. So it's a shame because this is the type of like creativity that you got from the 80s. People trying new things and definitely pushing the system beyond what it's capable of doing, because there's not enough buttons for what you can do in this game. So they had to come up with creative solutions, including, pressing down and the 2 button in order to use your item, which unto itself seems like a Street Fighter move almost. So I do appreciate that they did that. Graphically, the game is like beautiful. Again, I'm basing this off the fact that it's an 8-bit system, and it looks absolutely amazing, and it's very, very detailed. And the use of color feels almost more than what an 8-bit system really should have been able to do at that time, which just kind of shows how well they were able to utilize the space they had or the memory they had in the console. So kudos to them for making the game that looks so great. Gameplay itself, I honestly, for me, I was not too happy playing this game, and it wasn't just the controls. I found it kind of boring, to be honest. But then again, I've been finding a lot of like older NES games and games of this era no longer as fun as I remember them. So I think I might be going through my own little rut, like Sam was going through there with the finishing the games. So I want to play a couple more. Maybe I'll actually pick up the collection, or maybe I'll go back to Monster Boy, because I do believe I have that one on my PlayStation, the remake of that. So uh, overall, I probably think this is probably the best looking game, or the best game I've seen on the Master System. So I'm going to give it props for that. Sound and music is definitely 8-bit, and like Alan said, little bit behind of what the NES could do at the time. So, and not as big of a jump for that. Giving it a score though, I don't know. I can see why this game would be popular. So I'm going to definitely give it like a 7. I'll give it a straight 7. It is definitely an ambitious game, and it deserves its deserves its flowers.
Excellent. Lovely stuff. Higher than I thought you'd give it, in all honesty. So I appreciate.
I like to circle the toilet a little bit before I dump my load of score.
Well, that's a wonderful image, and on the back of that, Sam, why don't you pop a squat and see what comes out?
Sure. Well, I think my review has to come with the caveat that I played the remaster on Switch, or not on Switch, on Steam Deck. Yeah, I don't know. It was $5, and I didn't want to. I was too lazy to fuck with the emulation that would be required for me to play the original version. I'm like, well, that's $5. That's fine. It was $5 well spent. I'm glad I didn't. Glad I didn't spend more on it, I guess. But also weird side note, if you want a physical version of the Wonder Boy 3 remaster, I think it was limited run, and it's like well over $100 in the US. It is not well over $100 in Alan's neck of the woods, which is pretty nice. But anyways, if you're going to play this game, most likely this is your only way to play it outside of emulation, and it's not a bad way to do it. I think it gives the right mix of quality of life improvements and staying true to the original. Being able to flip back and forth between graphical styles was really nice. Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I think my opinion of the Metroidvania elements are maybe a little influenced by the fact that I've obviously played Castlevania games and Metroid games that are highly refined and way better. but I see where the idea was, and at the time it was still a pretty relatively new style of game. Like I think, without looking this up, I think Metroidvania did come, or Metroid, the original Metroid did come first, but that's not to say that one directly influenced the other. You can two ideas can occur simultaneously in different places and times. So who knows? I don't know. We didn't really get into like the development, and we don't really do that here, but it was cool. I still get a charge out of seeing an element like those checkerboard bricks that the mouse can climb on, and kind of making mental note of them, and then being able to go back and re-explore and find those areas, and kind of exploit them with the different abilities that you have. So yeah, I thought the map itself of the game was pretty well constructed. They packed a lot of different secrets into kind of a relatively small space, which made the game manageable, but also there was still a lot of stuff to find. Yeah, I think the controls are a little slip slidey, and I think that's more of maybe a Genesis or Master System, like kind of a pre-Sonic. Sonic came out in 91, I believe, but you had already had like Alex Kidd and these Wonder Boy games, and they definitely have a feel and a vibe to them that if you didn't grow up playing them and you go back to them, you probably aren't going to care for it too much. So I think they are an acquired taste. But overall, I didn't overly enjoy it, but I didn't hate it. So I think it kind of puts me right in the middle. I'm going to go with like a 6.5. And that includes the remaster. Like, don't necessarily, if you're getting it digital, don't necessarily go out, run out and pay the full price. I mean, it is still a pretty affordable digital game, but like there's not much to it. It really is just a reskinned old game, which isn't bad, but also like, don't break the bank for this one. It's fun to play though. So it's definitely, it's fine. That's a 6.5. Did I say 6.5 or 6?
6.5.
6.5. It's not a bad 6.5. It's just like it's okay. 6.5.
All right. Good stuff. I've just looked it up as well, and yes, there are copies available of the remake or remaster or what have you. £15. I could get a physical copy of that. And you know what? I think I probably will.
That's actually a really good deal.
I know, right? And I'd be very interested to see, having played this one now, to see what they've done with it. Because it is definitely a game that I think I'll play again. I mean, listen, I love Metroidvanias. That's no secret. I love the Master System. That's even less of a secret. So this game already had all of that going for it right out of the gate. They could have just, given the history of Wonder Boy, created another simple action platformer. But they really decided to swing for the fences with this one and just, as you say, pack as much as possible into that ugly looking Master System cartridge. And sometimes their ambition sort of went a bit further than their reach. But you got to respect them for trying. Like, is this a perfect game? No, absolutely not. Is it an enjoyable one? Absolutely. And it definitely deserves all of the plaudits that it gets. I mean, it is, maybe something of a cult classic. And begrudgingly, I have to admit that actually Brian is probably right, that had this been an NES game, it probably would have fared an awful lot better. It's a game that does deserve more eyes on it. I mean, granted, the controls are, hardly the worst game I've ever played control-wise, but there is a certain amount of adjustment that you need to make with regards to how the character moves, how the attacks work. There are different forms to learn, and, each of those comes with its own little quirks. And just that in itself, there are 4 or 5 different ways to play this game, and all of your abilities that allow you to access more of this map are just so wildly different that it's a joy to find out what character you're going to be playing as next. And, I think that's the fun of a Metroidvania. It's what ability am I going to get, and how am I going to be able to use this to open up more of this world? It is a small map, but it's definitely a challenging adventure. A little bit of that holdover perhaps from the arcade style of gameplay that was, not too far removed from when this game came out. It looks stunning. Like, even now, even just playing the Master System version, the sprites, the characters, everything is just so bright and colorful and cartoony and expressive, and so much variation in the different areas that you go to. It's just a wonderfully presented game that just tries to do so much, and I respect the hell out of it. So yeah, I will definitely be picking up the remake at some point and having a swing at that. What am I going to give it though? It's going to be high. It's going to be high, even with some of the bullshit that I had to face. I still had an awful lot of fun playing this game. I'm going to go for an 8. I genuinely think it is a joy to play. If you can see past some of its flaws, this is maybe not a hidden gem, but definitely an often overlooked one.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
I do need to make a correction, because I did a little research while I was listening to you here.
You had time.
Yeah. So Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap, the remake, is around $30 for a PS5 physical copy. Grab one of those, because they're not going to make physical games anymore.
True.
And the Switch version is the one that's a little higher, but it's not well over 100. I exaggerated. It's like in the 70s, 80s range. So those might be a little more scarce, but which makes sense. Like, in all honesty, I'd rather play this on a Switch, or like I did on a Steam Deck. So that makes sense that the handheld version like seems to go a little bit more than the home console version. So anyways, yeah, correction, because if anyone were to fact check me, they'd be like, you're dumb. Well, they wouldn't be wrong, but I'm just
they've turned it off a long time ago, Sam.
And we are kind of dumb. So I've never been known for my intelligence. I'm right there with you, buddy.
All right, well, I'm in good company then.
Well, there we go. And that's it for what is possibly, I mean, let's face it, it's probably going to be a while before we cover another Master System game. So this has been fun. I've really enjoyed this episode. Just showing that old console that I had as a wee nipper. Just a little bit of love and respect. Yeah. So I guess now we've got to end the episode, which is something that I should do. Is anyone got anything else they want to say?
No.
I'm good.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And what we got coming up next?
Just Cause.
Oh, yes, we are laying waste to the island of, I want to say Panau.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And until next time, guys, I don't know how to end an episode. So thanks for listening, and talk to you next time.
Form of bird.